Throughout the 1940s, Ingrid Bergman was the saint of Hollywood. With her pure, makeup-free face and eyes that seemed to hold an entire sky of sincerity in Casablanca, she was worshipped by the American public as a symbol of absolute morality and purity. People believed she was the very embodiment of the virtuous roles she portrayed. Yet 5 years after Ingrid passed away, a media bomb exploded, shaking even her most loyal fans. Gregory Peck, the charming actor and her co-star in the masterpiece, Spellbound, broke decades of silence. He publicly admitted that the two had shared a passionate, intense affair right on set, while both were still married to other people. This revelation was not merely a belated scandal. It was the key that unlocked another truth about Ingrid. She had never been the good girl that studios had carefully molded. Behind that graceful exterior was a rebellious woman, willing to cast aside all doctrines and social prejudices to dive headfirst into the adventures of true love and authentic art. Ingrid Bergman did not choose to live the way the world expected. She chose to live the way her heart desired, no matter how brutal the cost. To understand why a woman with such angelic purity possessed such a rebellious heart, we must travel back to the cold streets of Sweden, where young Ingrid learned to face life and death before she could even read. Ingrid Bergman's life began with sorrowful notes. At just 2 years old, she endured the loss of her mother. Her father, Justus Bergman, a talented painter and photographer, raised her alone, surrounding her with both care and quiet sadness. It was he who placed her first camera in her hands, teaching her to see the world through a lens and igniting her dream of standing before the spotlight. But fate seemed especially cruel to her. At 14, her father also passed away from stomach cancer. In a short span of her teenage years, Ingrid became an orphan, facing the overwhelming emptiness of a home without laughter. Yet in that absolute loneliness, she did not collapse. She turned to cinema not just as a passion, but as a means of survival. Her longing for freedom revealed itself early. When accepted into the Royal Dramatic Theatre School of Sweden, a sacred temple of art that any actor would dream of, Ingrid shocked everyone by dropping out after just 1 year. She found its rules too rigid, its teachings too dogmatic. To Ingrid, acting had to be the breath of real life, a collision with reality, not dry techniques confined within 4 walls. She chose to abandon the safety of the academy, to throw herself into real roles, beginning her journey of transforming personal loss into a mesmerizing force on screen. The safety of a model family life in Sweden soon felt too small for Ingrid's burning ambition. She needed a launching pad, and the first man in her life appeared at the right time to help build it. At 21, Ingrid married Peter Lindström, an intelligent, devoted, and highly disciplined dentist. Peter was not only a husband, but also like a father figure and strict manager, helping her organize a life shaken by childhood loss. Together, they had their first daughter, Pia, creating the image of a perfect, happy family in the eyes of the Swedish public. But Hollywood, the promised land, called her name. At 24, invited by powerful producer David O. Selznick, Ingrid arrived in Los Angeles to remake Intermezzo. In a Hollywood filled with artificial beauty, plucked eyebrows, and heavy makeup, Ingrid Bergman appeared like an earthquake. She firmly refused heavy makeup. She refused to change her style, to pluck her eyebrows, or to fix her teeth according to the era's standards. Selznick once feared her too natural appearance would fail, but he was wrong. Her bare face, radiant skin, and sincerity shining through her eyes made her stand out brilliantly among the plastic dolls. She conquered audiences not only with talent, but with an unmistakable identity, a real beauty that needed no artifice to shine. As Hollywood's spotlight embraced Ingrid Bergman, the public and producers assumed she was an untouchable saint. But the truth was, inside that modest Swedish woman was a volcano ready to erupt, longing to shatter the glass cage of purity. In 1941, Ingrid delivered her first shock at the studio when invited to join the masterpiece Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Instead of accepting the gentle leading role that fit her image, she boldly refused and demanded to play Ivy, the sensual, fallen woman. She wanted the world to see her darker side, a fierce feminine instinct that saintly roles could never fully reveal. This was not just a career choice, but her first declaration of personal freedom. That rebellion did not remain on screen. It seeped into her real life through dangerous romantic adventures. During her time in Hollywood, Ingrid's heart crossed boundaries more than once, even while still married to Peter Lindstrom. She developed a passionate relationship with co-star Spencer Tracy on set, followed by a brief but intense affair with Gary Cooper while filming For Whom the Bell Tolls. For Ingrid, love was not a permanent contract or rigid vows. She lived by a simple yet defiant philosophy, to believe only in the most sincere moments of the present. When emotions came, she embraced them wholeheartedly, regardless of the strict moral standards of the time. This ruthless honesty with her own feelings set the stage for one of the most shocking scandals of the 20th century, a moment that would transform her from beloved icon into traitor in the eyes of the world. The real storm began one evening in 1948, when Ingrid Bergman sat in a dark cinema, completely captivated by the raw, vibrant imagery of the masterpiece, Rome, Open City. Behind those images was director Roberto Rossellini. In a spontaneous yet fateful moment, she picked up a pen and wrote him a letter, brief but enough to change history. If you need a Swedish actress who speaks English very well, hasn't forgotten her German, is not very fluent in French and in Italian can only say ti amo, then I am ready to come and make a film with you. That letter did not just spark an artistic collaboration. It marked the beginning of one of the greatest escapes Hollywood had ever witnessed. In 1949, at the peak of her fame, Ingrid made a devastating decision. She left her brilliant career in America, left her husband Peter Lindstrom, and most painfully, left behind her young daughter Pia to fly to Italy to be with Rossellini. She did not go merely to act. She went to live a life she believed was more real than the artificial glow of Los Angeles. The price for that freedom was devastating. When news broke that Ingrid Bergman was pregnant with Roberto Rossellini's child while still married to her husband, the world seemed to go mad. From a worshipped saint, she suddenly became a traitor in the eyes of the public. The church condemned her, and even in the US Congress, a senator stood up to declare her an immoral woman and a bad influence on American women. Ingrid was banned from setting foot in the United States for years, shunned by the very people who once idolized her. The greatest pain did not lie in the harsh newspaper headlines, but in the irreparable fracture with her daughter Pia. The poor child could only learn about her mother through malicious rumors and scandal-filled pages. That separation, lasting for years, created a deep emotional wound, a price far too high for Ingrid's uncompromising honesty with her own feelings. But was life in Italy truly the paradise she had dreamed of, or just another cage, perhaps even more suffocating? Leaving behind Hollywood's dazzling spotlight for sunlit Italy, Ingrid believed she had found true freedom beside the man she admired. She quickly built a new home with Roberto Rossellini, giving birth to their son Renato, and later twin daughters Isabella and Isotta. In those early years, she embodied the image of a devoted mother, willing to sacrifice her legendary fame for simple moments with her small family in Rome. Yet the paradise she dreamed of soon revealed painful cracks from within. Rossellini, a brilliant director with a possessive soul, gradually turned love into an invisible iron cage. He forbade her from working with any other directors, forcing her to act only in his films. Ironically, projects that failed miserably at the box office. Ingrid, a swan accustomed to the vast sky of artistic freedom, now felt her wings clipped by the very man she had sacrificed everything to follow. The suffocation worsened as Rossellini's unfaithful nature surfaced. After stripping his wife of professional freedom, he himself sought inspiration elsewhere. The ultimate betrayal came when he left Ingrid for another woman, Sonali Dasgupta, during a film shoot in India. Ingrid Bergman was left alone in a distant Italy with 3 young children, facing the collapse of an ideal she once believed was worth betraying the entire world for. Her marriage to Rossellini ended in 1957, not just a legal divorce, but a bitter awakening. She realized that honesty with one's emotions can sometimes lead to unforeseen abysses. Yet instead of collapsing, the resilient Swedish woman chose to stage one of the most remarkable comebacks in cinematic history, proving that no scandal or man could extinguish the innate light within her. After the illusion of an artistic paradise in Italy shattered, Ingrid Bergman stood among the ruins of both career and love. But the survival instinct forged in her orphaned childhood refused to let her fall. She decided to return to the very place that had rejected her, Hollywood, not to beg for forgiveness, but to reclaim her throne as an irreplaceable queen of cinema. Her return in 1956 with Anastasia was like an earthquake that cleansed all past stains. The American public, who once cursed her as a moral traitor, now fell silent before the extraordinary performance of a woman who had tasted every bitterness of life. Her second Academy Award for Best Actress became a belated apology from the world, restoring the legendary reputation of a star who had weathered the storm. During this rebirth, Ingrid found comfort with her third husband, Lars Schmidt. They lived in France for nearly 2 decades, a relatively peaceful period compared to her earlier turmoil. Yet her relentless desire for absolute honesty once again led to fracture when she discovered his affair, resulting in their divorce in 1975. This time, however, she did not break down. She devoted herself to the greatest battle of her life, her fight against breast cancer. Diagnosed in 1974, Ingrid Bergman made a choice that earned universal admiration. She refused to play the role of a fragile patient. For 8 long years of physical pain and harsh treatments, she continued working tirelessly in front of the camera. Her final role, in A Woman Called Golda, was performed when her body was already exhausted, yet her eyes still burned with unyielding determination. On her 67th birthday, August 29, 1982, Ingrid Bergman passed away in the arms of her former husband Lars Schmidt, who had returned to care for her in her final days. She died peacefully in London, closing a remarkable life cycle. Born and gone on the same day, as if fate had written a perfect script for a woman who never bowed to destiny. Her death on her 67th birthday was not just a strange coincidence, it felt like a proud full stop to a life always self-directed. As she passed, moral controversies faded, giving way to a deeper reflection on a personality both complex and ruthlessly authentic. Years after her passing, the men who had been part of Ingrid's life painted contrasting portraits of her. Peter Lindström, the first husband she left behind, wrote with bitterness in his memoirs. He described Ingrid not as a saint, but as an ambitious, ruthless woman who loved herself more than anyone else. To him, her freedom was selfishness that trampled over family bonds. Yet through the lens of time and of audiences who love cinema, Ingrid Bergman emerges as a hero of authenticity. In a Hollywood full of masks and pretense, she was the only one brave enough to live true to her instincts, willing to be rejected by the world rather than betray her own heart. She did not choose to live beautifully by society's standards. She chose to live truthfully by her own rhythm. Ingrid Bergman's legacy is not just 3 Academy Awards or timeless films like Casablanca. Her greatest legacy is courage. She proved that a woman can make mistakes, can fall, can be cast aside. But if she remains true to herself, she will always find her way back to glory. Even today, when people speak of Ingrid, they no longer remember the scandals or the condemnation from Congress. They remember the radiant, pure light she brought to the screen, a light forged through the storms of real life. Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to continue exploring the hidden stories of other legends with us. Thank you for following the journey of the rebellious saint, Ingrid Bergman.